Hi, welcome to From the Baseline, another Worldwide Hoops edition. This is episode, 4 of the Worldwide Hoops edition. And I'm Mark Williams, Premier Basketball Global Scout. And we appreciate you tuning in. On today's episode, we played the interview with Daniel Montoliu from Spain. And Daniel runs a program called PickUS out of Spain that has helped hundreds of Spanish players come over and play at the United States at all different levels. And so he talks about the development pathway there in Spain and the recruiting process. And so enjoy this interview with Daniel.
This is From the Baseline with Premier Basketball, and this is Mark Williams, Premier Basketball International Scout. I am joined with Daniel Montoliu from Spain. He runs a program called PickUS and has been a big part of sending the growth of players from Spain coming and playing in the U.S. at universities at all different levels, from Division I down to junior colleges. So we're honored to have him on a call today. How are you today, Daniel?
Well, very good under the current circumstances in Spain.
Yeah, how are the circumstances in Spain right now?
Well, we are all locked down 8 years in a row now, and with a lot of people on intensive care in Spain. Almost 2,000 died people by coronavirus.
So you're on the whole country's on a lockdown?
Yeah. Everybody home.
Everybody home. Well, we'll most definitely be praying for y'all along with everybody around the world.
Thank you.
Coronavirus, it's absolutely a different thing.
Yeah.
We'll talk about for the rest of our lives. So.
Sure.
Now you run a program called PickUS. Share a little bit to our listeners and college coaches who may not be too familiar with the program.
PickUS intends to be a help for student athletes from Spain and other players from Europe to help them in their dream to go to the States, but helping them from an academic standpoint, which means help them with registration, to take the SAT, to take the TOEFL, understand the recruiting process, and helping them with the admission process and the visa process going to U.S. So we try to provide all this information and helping them with all the paperwork and all these things that they need. And from this academic standpoint, we are sending at this point around 140 players from Spain to the States at all levels, from Division I BCS level to mid-majors, low majors, Division II, NAIA, and a lot of junior colleges.
Wow. So you said more than 140 players. Did I catch that right?
Yeah. If we finish this class, that's going to be almost 190. We have, if everything goes okay, we're going to have 54 players going to the States next fall.
Wow. 54 players just from the 2020 class.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Now, how long have y'all been helping Spanish players?
I started myself as a coach, getting to know the process and getting in touch with some American coaches 7 years ago. But as a business, I started like 4 years ago, pretty much.
Wow. That's amazing. And I'm sure a big, tremendous help to the Spanish players who don't understand the process as far as U.S. colleges are concerned. What do you see as the biggest struggle for Spanish players coming over?
Well, the main struggle in the recruiting process is with the English command, because our system is not very good with that. Okay, once they get to the States, it's about making them understand that the game is played differently and they have to play the American way. I mean, we as a coaches in Spain, we control a lot of players. We want them to not make too many turnovers, to have good such selection, and that's not going to be always the best recipe for success in the States. You put the stress in other things, you know. So I try to prepare them mentally and physically, because when they go to the States, they are not used to things like lifting weights or the way the game is officiated in college basketball. And before going the English part, it's difficult. But when they go to the States, that's not a problem anymore. But then starts the real college life and understanding which are the expectations for American coaches.
Interesting. It is a big difference, and I'm sure it's a big help there. You helping them prepare and transition. As you work with players and work with college coaches, what do you see from a college coach standpoint is some of the common mistakes college coaches make when recruiting Spanish players?
Oh, that's a tough question. I would say what I want is that when coaches come to Spain, I want them to watch Spanish practices, which are very different to American ones. Your practices are about run, go, and you have 1 minute for everything. And our type of practices are more relaxed. We talk a lot to the kids. We put all that we can put on 5-on-5. We don't put on 2 against 0, 3 against 0. And I mean, that makes that some kids, when they go to the States, they can look like lazy or ugly, and that's because the way they have been coached here, you know. So this is the most common mistake, trying to understanding where the girls come from.
Interesting. That is a big shift. I mean, our practices are very much run, go, on to the next thing. You know, where in Spain they're taking time and talking through the process and you know, 5-on-5 and playing probably a little bit more, but they're more of a teaching practice than it is just a go.
Yeah, I mean, we developed this basketball IQ because of that, I feel, and this is good, but that requires time, and that requires that you catch the kids making mistakes, but at the same point, catch them when they are doing good and let them know, you know, and that makes our kids, our average player basketball IQ is really high for me in comparison of American ones. But obviously they go to America to try to play the American way. Our players, they feel when they go to the States that it's like a whole different sport, which is a good thing for them. And they can try to maximize her potential through the intensive work in the weight room and plyometrics and all of that. So they enjoy the process. But that's going to take some time.
Right. And any transition takes time, but even when you're learning English and a new education system and then, you know, playing basketball in practices and new experiences and stuff, and so the whole
everything, nutrition, meal times, everything. Our kids, when they go to the States, the first struggle they have is that we allow them to hand check, and they go when they step into the court, they have a foul directly because of that. So that means that the next one you're going to be in the bench, and that's a hard pressure on them, you know. And this and the shuffling when you are with the ball in your hands and all of that needs some time and some explanation for the kids too.
Right. No, that's all. Man, that's good stuff from a college coach standpoint. Now, if you know, I'm familiar with the Spanish system and clubs and Spanish championships, but explain the pathway with basketball there in Spain, you know, to a young kid getting started all the way up to, you know, kids being able to represent on the national team, and just give some insight on the basketball development program from the whole country of Spain.
Yeah, I mean, our system of high school and ball clubs are all under the umbrella of the Spanish Basketball Federation, playing the same competition. There is no club basketball and high school basketball, so everybody's playing against everybody. Okay, and our kids, they only play one sport while they are in primary school, middle school, or high school. Usually, our kids start playing basketball when they are 6 years old or 8 years old, and they play for 10 years, practicing 10 months a year, always basketball, which is different from other countries. And also we have a detection program when they are like 11, 12 years old, and the best kids, they start working or doing some summer camps to be in the national team. So when you are 10, 11, you are in the detection program, and they might be like 80 kids, and they reduce the number. Some of them, the best 5, 6 kids on each class, they are sent to the basketball program funded by the federation, which is called Siglo XXI, which means 21st century, which is based outskirts of Barcelona, in Esplugues de Llobregat. So those kids are like in full scholarship as of 9, 10, 11, and 12th grader. Okay, and they live on campus. They study on the same school, which is called Joaquim Blume, and they play when they are freshman and sophomore against under 18 competition, and when they are high school junior and senior, they play against pros in the second Spanish division, LF2. So between the fact of being 20 hours practice a week for 11 months, so of those 24 best kids from Spain, maybe 19, 20 of them are in the summer with the national teams of their age group. So that means that these kids have a very, very great experience and maturity in her basketball skill set when they are high school seniors. They are not like any regular high school senior from the States. So most of those kids, usually all of them go Division One, but the top talented end up going to the BCS schools like Mike Cazorla, who went to Oregon, or Elena Puello, who's been very successful in Arizona this past season. But I mean, every single kid of this program that makes a very quick adjustment to states, and they can be an impact player in the right program, obviously.
Right. Now, outside of their national team kids, the 10 to 20 kids that they're picking for the national team, you move past them. How many Division I kids in Spain are there that are not in that top 10 to 20? Is there a big drop off in talent, or is there still talent there for Division I coaches?
Look, we have a discussion about how many kids can send Spain to Division I every year. That's a hard decision. Some people say that we can send 40. I feel like obviously the 10, 12 kids from national team under 18 can go, and maybe we have 10, 12 that can go to the right system. From there, I really feel like most of them will need to go to junior college, and then they can move up and go to Division I. So maybe between junior college way or JUCO way and the high school, maybe we can send 40 kids every year, yes. But we, to be honest, in every class from like 2020, you have the top 3-4 kids like Paula Fraile, Marta Garcia, Mama Dembele, that they're going to go BCS level. But between the 5th kid and the number 25 in the country, it's very small difference. We have a lot of kids who can be playing at mid-major, low major level and be very successful.
Well, that's good to know. So there's plenty of kids there. They just may have to go to the junior college route. If a college coach wants to start recruiting Spain, when's the best time to come over and see the majority of, or a lot of Spanish kids play?
Well, we organize the nationals under 18 and under 16 on the month of May. the 32 best teams are the second week of May of the under 18 group age, and the under 16 kids, they play on the fourth week of May. So you can have the best 300 of each class. That's a good way to start. But obviously, until now, at least, the recruiting calendar from NCAA doesn't allow to go in May to watch those events. So since we run our season from September till May, I really feel like September contact period is a very good one because we start our competitions around September the 15th to come any weekend, and most of the kids will be around Barcelona, Madrid area, which is like 1 hour flight. So you can see multiple interesting kids for you. If we're talking that we can send 25 every year, Division One, probably you're going to see 20 of them in those two cities. Okay. And as I told you, there's a program where the top 24 kids are in the same gym practicing every single day. So I would say this is the start point to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, if you're going to come over and watch, you're going to go to CiGLA, and then from there, you're going to just try to
by the way, the practices are open to any coach, and in a program like CiGLA, the director of the program and the coaches are open to help the kid and the coaches to understand each other, and the kids make good decisions if they need to go to United States, which is very different from other countries.
Absolutely. That's very different. That the Spanish Federation and their top school and top team would be a proponent for kids coming to the States and actually want to be part of the process and helping them make, the best decision possible, as opposed to just being anti going to the States, and then, kids who want to go end up making bad choices just because they don't have the advice and be able to get wisdom from people who are interacting with the coaches as well. So
I would say in general terms, even clubs and Spain are more open to that because our first division, pro division, LF1, it's very competitive, and your kids are not going to go and have a contract and they're going to play right away. So more and more often the clubs feel, okay, this is what they call the crossing of the desert. So let the kids go to the States, have the degree, get better, go back, and then they're going to be prepared to play pro if they want.
Right.
Most of the clubs are like that.
Well, and that's wise because then your kids aren't sitting for a couple years and not getting the playing time and stuff to continue their development when they can go play against Americans and learn that style and then come back and play pro. And, over the long term, it'll help the national team be more competitive, with Team USA when it comes to Olympics and World Championships. It just helps the development of the whole country from a basketball standpoint. When your top kids are getting better, then everybody else is going to raise to that level. So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it's a very open window perspective. I feel like right now France has a problem that they want to keep all the kids there. The coaches, to be coaching French, you have to be French most of the time. So it's all the same. So you don't improve the level of your competition. When our kids play against under 17s in Minsk, in Belarus, it's when the kids feel like, okay, if I'm honest with myself, and this is what he telling Apoyo. If I want to be honest with myself, if I want to get better, I have to play against those guys every day. So this is the only way. I can stay here, sign pro, easy, and feel like I'm very good, or just try to go and be better, And this is why she chose to go.
No, that's a very good insight there from a player standpoint and view of just trying to be the best player that they can be, so that they can have a long career and have a lot of success. Hey, who are some players we talked a little bit earlier on before we got on this interview? But you still have some 2020 players still looking.
Yeah.
Give me a couple D1 kids level and a couple Division II levels kids that are still looking.
Yeah, I mean, our kids go really late. So if you are in March, April, and you're looking for players, Spain is a good country. Since our kids take the SAT late, take the TOEFL really late, and they are still undecided about what to do. But right now, we have Marta Suarez, which is a 6'2", type of 3-guard forward, who is still open, and she is at the top level. She can play BCS at Pac-12, Big Ten, okay? But she just the week before under 18s last summer, European under 18s, she got an injury, an ankle injury. She couldn't play, so nobody could see her. Then we have in a 2020 class Maria Torres, which is a 6'1" point guard from Rivas, who she was the last cat from under 16 in Lithuania, okay, but she's a legit good mid-major, low-high major type of player, and she's talking to some schools, but she's still open. We have Elena Delicado, which is a 6'1" guard forward. We are really good in Spain producing point guards and stretch fours. Elena Delicado is this type of stretch four who can play back to the basket, put the ball on the floor, shoot a three, and open up the floor. But I really feel like we have a lot of kids who can play Division II. But however, we go late. The D2 schools have already recruited their kids. But I would say we have Leia Martinez, which is 5'11", lefty guard forward, who can play a very good Division II level. Annabella Torre, which is 6'1" post, who is finishing her high school in UK, which is a current trend in Spain, going there and not taking TOEFL because you've been finishing your last 2 years of high school in Great Britain. And we have legit players who can be there. But, for instance, with Annabelle, the problem is that she's looking for a school who can offer engineering, because even at national team level type of kids, the first is academics. So they go to the States for the possibility to cope high level of basketball performance with high level of studies. And our kids are really good students.
Very good. Who are some 2021 names that Division I coaches need to know about coming out?
Well, look, there's a typical names that everybody knows. Gisela Sanchez, the 6'1", who's been contacted by 45 schools, or Marta Morales, the 6'1" guard, who was the top scorer last summer. But the problem those kids have is their English fluency is really small, so that limits a lot the contact with the coaches. And they are doing the process really, really slowly, because part of what I do is I help them with translation with the families. So those days that we are in lockdown and the kids are home with the parents, I'm trying to utilize my time to do three-way FaceTimes with the kids with the schools. Okay?
Right. I'm
very easy. Then I'm going to tell you probably the most interesting prospect, which is 6'2" Chiso Okafor, which is the first of this class of African Spanish kids that we have in the coming classes. She decided to try to take the SAT. She's not very good student. Her mom came from Nigeria to Spain to give her a future. So this is very different from other Spanish players because Chiso's mother language is English, but she's going to struggle with SAT. I'm going to help her to pass it. And she's a 6'2", who, against friends in the last summer, she scored 23 points and 12 rebounds. She is the African American athleticism and the Spanish basketball IQ. Then I would say the sleeper of this class are Elena Rodriguez, which is 6'2" kid, which in the national team plays everywhere, but in her ball club, which is Leticia Romero's ball club, Iris Mbulito ball club, she plays the point guard, which makes her a very unusual type of player.
Right.
Okay, but in the 2021 class, we have really good players. It's and they are very early in the process, all of them.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Now, if a college coach wanted to get a hold of you and talk Spanish players and recruiting Spain, what would be the best way for them to contact you?
By a cell phone, which is this one, 34690930654, or my email address, which is dmontoliu, MONTOLIU, .PickUS, .point education.
All right, those are all really long.
Okay.
Do you have
that's a difficult one. That's a difficult one.
Do you have there's a PickUS Twitter account, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a PickUS Twitter account, Instagram account as well. Okay.
Right. So your Twitter handle is at Pick, PICKUS?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. That would probably be, so coaches, if you want to reach out to Daniel and start the relationship, a good way to start would be.
By Twitter, it's a good thing too, yeah.
Yeah. And check him out on Twitter at PickUS. I know Daniel, we met, I don't know, quite a few years ago now, and have always enjoyed our relationship and trying to help players come over and been mutually beneficial. And I still do owe you that visit to Barcelona, so that's coming soon. We got to get rid of this coronavirus.
You should. Everybody's welcome to Barcelona. Everybody's coming to Spain, wants to start in Barcelona. I'm going to pick the coach in the airport, and I'm going to do some sightseeing and go together to practices and games. I promise.
College coaches, if you've never been over to Spain, it's a good time to go, or a good reason to go.
Right now, it's not a good time to go. Wait for a while.
But when all this goes, Daniel, when I came over to the under-17s in Zaragoza, Daniel picked me up in the airport and drove me to Zaragoza and stuff, and he'll take care of you there as far as in Spain, and make sure you're in the right spots to see the right kids at your level, and so he's definitely an international contact to know and to build a relationship with, not only to recruit kids in Spain, but PickUS is slowly expanding out into Europe and different parts of the continent there, and so he's got players at all different levels. So college coaches, he's a great resource there for you. So Daniel, as we wrap up the interview, is there anything you'd like to share?
No, as you said, it's not about Division I schools. I really travel to the States. I really like to go and watch practices at JUCO, go and visit Division II schools, because there is a lot of opportunities there. I think everything is about develop the trust and get to know each other. And I really love to go and watch practices and see what you are teaching to your kids, and being very honest and try to find good fits for both, for the school and for the kids. That's my story.
Awesome. Well, Daniel, we appreciate your time today. Hey, this is Mark Williams with Premier Basketball, signing off from the baseline.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.